году мы проводим третью летнюю школу по изучению наследия Иммануила Канта. Школа посвящена вопросам рациональности и науки, так она и называется, Кант о науке и рациональности. И проводит эту школу профессор автономного университета Барселоны из Испании Томас Штурм, известный специалист по философской психологии Иммануила Канта, по кантианской рациональности, по философии и истории науки. И помогают ему в проведении летней школы два наших тьютора, Вадим Чалый и Рудольф Мер. Школа имеет традиционную, уже ставшую традиционной структуру. Она состоит из лекций, семинаров и тьютория. И сопровождается дискуссиями, вопросами, ответами, что на самом деле очень важно для молодых людей, которые принимают у нас участие. Среди участников, опять же, традиционный контингент – это старшие бакалавры старших курсов, магистранты, аспиранты и только недавно защитившиеся кандидаты наук или доктора философии из российских университетов и из международного научного сообщества. То есть у нас школа международная, проходит она на английском языке с возможными вставками, так сказать, дискуссиями на русском. Для этого всегда мы приглашаем двух тьюторов, англоязычного и русскоязычного, которые могли бы помогать российским участникам в ходе дискуссии. Отбор в летнюю школу происходит на конкурсной основе, и в этом году мы получили очень много заявок, 45 заявок от кандидатов на участие в летнюю школу со всего мира. И был отобран 21 человек из 11 стран. У нас участники из России, Белоруссии, Аргентины, Германии, США, Канады, Люксембурга, из Турции, Ирана и Польши.
First of all, I want to say it was a really thought-provoking third international summer school here in Kaliningrad and a quite tough week. I learned a lot about Kant's philosophy and Kant's concept of rationality and his concept of natural science, especially in the intersection between his pre-critical philosophy and his critical philosophy. So we start with his book from 1755, The Universal Natural History and Theory of Heaven, and we try to understand how he reached his critical philosophy in the Critique of Pure Reason and also in the second and third critique. And it became particularly clear that Kant's philosophy, Kant's system of natural science offers an interesting perspective to an increasing fragmentation of natural science. For this reason, I think Kant's philosophy is not only interesting from a historical point of view, but it offers the possibility for a critical assessment of natural science today. So these are my main insights during this third international summer school, and I think these insights are only possible because we have here Thomas Sturm, who is a leading scholar in Kantian scholarship and also a proven expert in theories of probability and anthropology.
The topic of this year's summer school placed heavy demands on the participants. People had to be well prepared in Kantian philosophy and also well versed in the contemporary philosophy of sciences. And we are, I would say that we are successful. The group is amazingly well prepared, and people are speaking and presenting on the level of philosophical conference. So the name of a summer school could be perhaps replaced by a summer conference in Kant and philosophy of science. It is particularly important today to touch upon the problem of scientific rationality. Kant has a lot to say in this respect, and his ideas are not often represented in Russian discussions of science and scientific development. Well, we hope that this summer school will help bridge this gap and represent Kant properly in the contemporary debates on science and scientific rationality.
This is my third stay in Russia and the second time that I'm here in Kaliningrad, and I'm really impressed and surprised what I find here and what the opportunities are for doing Kant scholarship here. With the summer school, we have about 25 students or so coming from Germany, Russia, but also other countries beyond. And it's an absolutely impressive group with whom I'm working here. Our discussions are very lively. The students cannot stop asking questions and make extremely sharp points. They're very well informed and well prepared for the summer school. I think this is the highest international level of Kant scholarship with which we are working here. The relation of Kant's philosophy to his thinking about science, his own scientific work, his thinking about his own scientific work and the development of his thought about the nature, the presuppositions and the broader social value of science is something that has attracted many researchers in recent decades, but it's a research area that still needs to be explored in many domains. Also, one can bring Kant thereby into contact with current philosophy of science and its significance for society, which I find an absolutely fascinating thing to do. No thinker has developed a more differentiated and more reflected notion of reason or rationality in modern times than Kant has done, and he applied all the different aspects of the complex notion of reason to the sciences as well. And so this summer school is able to bring that abstract part of his philosophy down to earth, as it were, by explaining how these different aspects of reason and rationality function in the sciences. And that's a very productive thing. At the same time, one can also learn how many of the aspects that Kant developed concerning his notion of reason have their origin, have their prompting cause, have their motivation in his attempt to understand how science works. I hope that the students take from the summer school mainly two main things: that they learn to make new friends, that helps them to communicate more efficiently and to abolish stereotypes about each side, and that they do thereby also use their philosophical capacities that they partly learn here in the summer school, namely to think for themselves and to use Kant as a tool, as a guide for learning to think for themselves with respect to scientific knowledge, but also with respect to all other areas of philosophy that they are interested in, that they become thinkers for themselves. That's what I would wish. And that at the same time, they learn that their perspective or their viewpoint is not the only one in the world, but that they understand that Kant had this important message that we need to take a cosmopolitan point of view in all things, in all regards. And that's something where his philosophy of science plays a huge role as well. So I hope that the students make good progress here. I have high expectations for many of them. The quality was really high. And over the course of the summer school, the students were also even improving in many respects. So that's very productive, and it has to do with the environment, with the setting that we found here, with the conditions that were prepared by the team of the Academia Kantiana.
Yes, this is my second time here in Svetlogosk. I'm here again because the last year was really great. I found here a very good community of students, of researchers, and it really contributed a lot to my development as a scholar. Let's say, right? And this is why I decided, and I was sure that I want to be here again after the first time. And so when I saw that this thing is organized again, it was for me a very simple choice.
I think it's a nice community. I love to communicate with Russian scholars and from scholars from all over the world. And I think this place is important for everyone who's interested in Kant, because Kant lived here actually in Kaliningrad. I'm already done with my PhD, so I want to repeat some of interesting topics. I might get some questions which will be related to these topics, so it's a really good thing for me to repeat some information and to get to learn something new.
I was here last summer, and I think that our second summer school was great, and so I decided to continue my experience and applying to Kant's philosophy, and so I'm here.
It's very special to be able to come to Russia for me. This is my first time in Russia, and to study Kant in the very region that he came came from. So that was one of my main reasons for coming here. It's been really nice to interact with other colleagues and scholars who are all studying. I think we've learned a lot from one another, and so I've been really happy about that during the summer school. We're only 20 minutes away from the beach. You can walk there, you can go for a swim. You know, that's about as close to the beach as you can get. Yeah, I can't think of any other major difficulties. I can't speak Russian, but there are so many other Russian speakers around that that hasn't been a major barrier at all.
Мое путешествие было не таким длительным и длинным, как у многих других участников летней школы. Но моя мотивация, наверное, одна из главных причин, почему я здесь. Это потому, что я был на первой летней школе несколько лет назад и почему-то остался доволен и организацией, и тем, как она прошла в целом, уровнем дискуссии и так далее. Однако мне хотелось посмотреть, что изменилось, и, собственно, для этого и нужно было приехать сюда. И я думаю, что уровень организации, уровень дискуссии, даже уровень участников сильно подрос с того момента, что, в общем-то, не может не радовать. С другой стороны, Кант — это моя большая любовь. Я занимаюсь им и пишу диссертацию, которая посвящена в том числе и ему. Кроме того, я думаю, что одна из причин, по которой русские студенты могут и должны приезжать в Калининград, это, собственно, то, что Калининград предлагает неплохую площадку для того, чтобы молодые люди, интересуются ли они философией или нет, пообщались с молодыми людьми из других стран. Собственно, это не то, что так уж слишком часто случается в России, и поэтому это хорошая возможность, я думаю.
Well, I came from Argentina and I decided to take part in this summer school because I thought that it was an amazing opportunity to discuss philosophy and especially Kantian philosophy with people from different countries and cultures and backgrounds, and I realized that it was like this, and it was for me an amazing experience because we have discussed a lot and I have learned a lot with my teachers, but also with my colleagues.
I'm from the US, but I study in Europe, so this was an experience for me to not only come and see where Kant lived and be in the hometown, but also to further my studies of Kant, and not just for personal reasons either, but for further help in my grad studies and furthering my career, and this is also not an area of Kant I necessarily focus on a lot, and so being here with such intelligent people has really helped me grow.
I'm from Italy, but I did my PhD in Spain, and I'm here, so first of all, because it is an international summer school on Kant, and I've studied Kant, and especially topics such as epistemology or rationality are very interesting for me, and the opportunity to discuss them in an international environment is something that I didn't want to miss. I think that is a common thought, that we are grateful to have been selected for participating, because I think that is something unique. And yeah, so thank you.
Сейчас я учусь в аспирантуре в Белорусском государственном университете, вот, поэтому для меня было очень интересно подать заявку на третью летнюю школу по изучению наследия Канта, поскольку моя диссертация связана с теоретической философией Канта, то есть она относится к области теоретической философии Канта, вот, поэтому было любопытно поучаствовать в мероприятии, которое как раз-то тематически близко связано с тем, чем я занимаюсь, тем, что мне интересно, и найти некий новый опыт, новые точки интерпретации того, что уже, возможно, известно и знакомо. Ну, это, конечно, огромный плюс, что не существует такой формальной напряженности в дискуссиях, в лекциях, на семинарах и так далее. Вот, поэтому ну, сравнить достаточно сложно, Хотя, возможно, поскольку на прошлой школе тематика была посвящена практической философии Канта и ее импликациям с концепциями права у Канта, вот, а здесь как бы теоретически уже совсем как бы моя близко к моим интересам.
Это первая летняя школа от Академии Кантиана, которую я посетил в том году, к сожалению, я сюда не подавал заявку, не вышло. Ну, я в целом очень доволен результатом. Интерес был двоякий. С одной стороны, это всегда интересно иметь возможность поработать с специалистами, состоявшимися специалистами, с молодыми исследователями с других стран, из других интеллектуальных и научных традиций. А с другой стороны, тема этой летней школы очень близка и созвучна с моим собственным интересом и моим собственным исследованием, а тем самым для меня это имело еще и большой эвристический потенциал, если выразиться.
Моей мотивацией попасть на эту школу, естественно, был интерес к Канту, интерес к философии Канта. И, безусловно, это очень важный и ценный опыт пообщаться с коллегами из разных стран, разного академического уровня, поучиться у каждого, поскольку мой научный путь только начинается, и хотелось бы верить, будет продолжаться. И здесь коллеги гораздо более высокого уровня, и я могу подчеркнуть безумно важные для меня знания и умения.
I finished my PhD. It was on Kant's practical philosophy, but I want to further my research more into the theoretical philosophy, so this school has been a great opportunity both to meet Professor Storm, who seems to work on the more theoretical side of Kant. So I've learned a lot from him, and also from my colleagues who have different research interests. So the discussions have also been very helpful for me to get a clear sense of what people are working on internationally in different countries, as well as in Russia. So I think it has been extremely helpful for me to get into the main discussions, the main points of intersection between practical and theoretical and so on. And so it's just been very helpful for me, and I think it will help me to develop further my own research. Yeah. I think the town itself, Svetlogorsk, is a really beautiful town. It's my first time here. It's very relaxing, calm, not very crowded, and not very city-like. So I think the choice of the place is also very important for the conference itself, because we have an opportunity to work and discuss and study, but we also have a chance to see the amazing views from the seaside and also the very nice town. So that's what I would like to add.
So I'm very interested in Kant's philosophy of science, and Kant's philosophy specifically of the softer sciences, his empirical psychology, for instance, or his anthropology, and how that relates to his cosmopolitan idea of politics, right? And I think we were very lucky when I saw on the program that Thomas Sturm would be here, since he is a world-renowned expert on these topics. So because it seemed like such a rare opportunity, I was very excited to apply to the program here. Very excited to be accepted too, because from what I understand, there were many people who applied. So it's a tremendous honor to be here.
Well, I'm mostly working on cognitive science and also computer scientific approaches to mind as well. But Kant was always an inspiration to me, and his critical philosophy was guiding my research on those areas to not lose myself on experimental side. And when I see the rationality in the title, I was just so excited, because my current research is also moral side of AI, and can we actually perceive them as moral agents? And rationality plays a very important role there. And I thought that Kant will inspire me again. And if I attend the summer school, why not? Yeah, that was basically it.
I think it's kind of interesting that we're all coming from slightly different directions. Like you're interested in anthropology, you're actually researching on AI and in combination with philosophy. And I'm here because I'm interested in Kant's philosophy of science, and especially Kant's cosmology, which we were talking about in the first lecture and first seminar. And still, despite all these differences, we are all together connected through the main topic, Kant's philosophy of science. And Yeah, I'm basically here because that focus on Kant's philosophy of science, and of course also the special focus on his cosmology, is really closely related to my research interests, since I'm just starting to do a PhD on Kant's cosmology in the 1750s and his connection to Kant's later critical philosophy. And my impression of the school is very good, very positive actually. There's a very great atmosphere here among participants, as well as between participants and the and Thomas and the organizing people here. Yeah, they're amazing discussions. They're very interesting, very fruitful, and actually the level of discussions is really high. So there's actually there's no need for our teachers to be teachers in that sense. So the discussion among participants alone is already on a very high level, and I really enjoy that actually.
One opportunity that this summer school presents for people who have a more parochial understanding of what philosophy is it helps us broaden our perspective, not only of the level of discussion and different points of view to understand Kant's philosophy, but also more generally with regards to the different cultures. There are people from so many different countries here. One thing that struck me as a citizen of the United States, coming out of my country for the first time to attend this summer school, was the various ways that we can have a really productive conversation about culture. And I've learned so many different things about Germans and Russians and Polish people and people from Turkey and Iran, for instance. It was really an eye-opening experience for me, not just as a scholar, but I believe as a human being.
В этом году нашу летнюю школу поддерживает форум «Петербургский диалог» и финансово, и организационно. Для нас это большая радость и возможность пригласить студентов, у которых нет финансовой поддержки со стороны их университетов или их родителей. И поэтому я хотела бы сказать огромное спасибо Петербургскому диалогу за такую щедрую поддержку. Спасибо.